All right, we've done our open position major chords. Now we're going to move on to open position minor chords, starting with E minor. We had E major before like this. The way to sound E minor, we just take our index finger off, and that G sharp note, first fret of the G string, will now sound a G. G is the minor third of E. So here's E minor. Our A major open position chord was played like this. To get A minor, C sharp, second fret of the B string, moves down to C, first fret of the B string. There's A minor. Our next chord is D minor. We started with D major like this. F sharp, second fret of the high E string, moves down to F natural, which is a minor third of G. And here's D minor. Now we had a G chord before, G major open position chord. But the way to play a G minor chord, we're going to do it along the lines of when we played our F chord, the same sort of fingering. If you remember, we played F like this, and we did F sus2 like this. The way to get a minor shape out of this type of fingering is that note on the G string, when it was an A note with F, that's the major third of F. G was the second, as I explained, but A flat, that's the minor third. So this shape, that's F minor. Going back to G, we have to use that shape to make a G minor, so we're going to do that up here. Ring finger, 5th fret of the A, pinky, 5th fret of the D, and the index finger is borrowing across the top 3 strings at the 3rd fret. That's G minor like that. And don't forget, F minor. Exactly the same thing, 1 whole step, 2 frets lower. And now we have our last chord in our open position chords, C. We played a C major like this. And we have a similar situation where we have to fret all the notes. We can't really play it as an open position to play C minor. So what we're going to do is, if you recall, we had A minor was like this. Let's imagine that we're playing it like this, and the index finger takes the place of, or functions sort of as the nut. That A, that's the root note of the chord. That's A minor. So let's go all the way up to C. But instead of playing it as a full bar right now, what we're going to do is we're just going to play the top 4 strings, just like we had been doing with F and F minor and G minor. We're going to take that A minor shape, slide it up to the 5th fret, put the index finger, 3rd fret of the high E string. That's C minor right there. C major, C minor. All right, if we combine some of these minor open position chord forms with the major open position chord forms, we can find all kinds of time-honored chord progressions that you hear in all different styles of rock through the entire history of rock. And I'll play some of those examples for you right now. Okay, this next example can be heard in the music of everybody from Smashing Pumpkins to U2 to Nirvana. Alternative rock, it's a very popular chord progression. Here it is. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, now I'm going to play the same example, but this time I'm going to play it with distortion to show you that the exact same chord progression, E minor, C, G, and D, has a very different quality when it's played with distortion and played aggressively. So check this out. 1, 2, 3, and... All right, in this next example, I'm going to introduce a couple slight variations on the types of chords that we've been playing. And you'll recognize this chord progression. It's been used by everybody from the Beatles to Led Zeppelin, and countless times it's a very popular chord progression. The chord progression is basically A minor to C to D to F to G, A minor. But what I do is I change some of the chord voicings very slightly to incorporate something known as a descending bass figure. What that means is, as each chord is played, the lowest note descends, and it gives a definitive quality to this chord progression as it moves along. So the first chord is A minor, just like we've been playing it. But the second chord, C, I change slightly by, instead of fretting 3rd fret of the A string, C note, I fret the 3rd fret of the G string to get a G note. So what this is called, that's a regular C. This is C chord, but now I have G in the bass. It's also C with a G bass. When you see it written down, there's a C and a slash and then a G, and that's what that means, G in the bass. The next chord is D, but instead of just playing a regular D chord, I'm going to have my thumb on F sharp, 2nd fret of the low E string. So what happens is we've had an open A note. The A is the lowest note of the first chord. Now G is the lowest note of the second chord, a whole step lower, and F sharp is the lowest note of the third chord. So you can hear this descending bass pattern as the chords progress. Okay? Here's the figure. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, our final example of open position chords, mixing minor and major, is going to be an up-tempo thing, and it's sort of in the style of alternative rock and pop, sort of like The Cure or Counting Crows, something like that. And the chords that are used are C, D minor, A minor, and G, another very common chord progression in rock. 1, 2, 3, 4.